must have been the connection. So this is Apollo. At different times this was called Apollo instead of being called Renaissance. At different times the whole property has a different name. Originally it was called, I think, something like Via del Sol, and then it was called Mount Carmel, and then it was called Renaissance.
And it stayed Renaissance.
And then it was called, sorry?
And then it went to something else?
Oh yes, then it was called Apollo.
Okay.
Then it was called Isis. And...
It is better.
No, well, the winery is Renaissance.
But
the property. Now this
oh my God.
was to be the winery up there.
And what happened?
Well, it was designed for 365 acres. And under my destructive leadership, we deserted the top layer and the middle layer. It was 3 layers. What you see there is the top layer, which was the fermentation area. So we deserted it and moved all the barrels from the second level, which was the barrel level, all the way down to the third level down, where now everything is. So as we shrunk, we didn't really need that scale of place. So I'll take you all the way up on vineyard top so that you can really have an overview. It's quite interesting. So very generally, I mean, all of this used to be planted with grapes, and now gradually it's shrinking. So some areas were taken out and either replanted with fruit trees or pastures or whatever. Some areas are waiting to be dismantled, like the hill across there. Still has grapes on it, but it's been obviously neglected. And other areas are being even replanted as Renaissance is shifting to better combination of microclimate, soil and varieties. There are 3 entities right now that are farming on this property. There's Renaissance, of course, there's Clos Aron, and there's a 3rd winery owned by Grant Ramey, who used to be the vineyard manager for Renaissance in the early days. He started his own little winery. For example, these vines right here he farms them, so they're not Renaissance or Clos Aron. I would say that both the great thing about this vineyard and what was the main challenge of this vineyard when it was at its full size was the extreme diversity of microclimate and soil types.
Yeah.
It was just phenomenal. At some point I had like 100 different fermentations going to try to understand what was going on in the different places in the vineyard.
But what kind of buffalo? They're not unusual buffalo. They're almost, yes. Yeah, that's exactly what they look like.
Because they were made...
The water buffalo.
Yes, they were brought here to make mozzarella.
Exactly.
This takes care of the buffalo. This is a cherry orchard.
But they're bigger than the buffalo, the water buffalo in Campania. It's funny.
This is closer on Syrah. And right above it, from here on, it's Remy Schulte, or actually now they call Grant and Eddie, which is Grant Ramey's. So here you see what happens with uncontrolled veg. See?
Is that the purple?
Yeah. And it suffocates the vine. This vine, if it's not remedied, this vine will not bloom.
Can you see that, guys?
They will not have any